So, my friend, there is so much I want to talk to you about so much, and let's just start. A YouGov poll came out an hour ago. He says that Reform came on the back of, Nigel Farage's sort of bombshell. Arrival on Monday. He's now standing in Clack, and he's now the leader of Reform. They are now within 2 points of the Conservatives at 17, the Tories down 2 to 19, Labour down 6, but still 21 points in front as an ex-MP, as our ex-minister. Do you agree with Farage that this election is a done deal?
Yes, I do. I mean, I have always said that. One has to be honest about these things, it looks like. Labor is on course to win the election. For me, the debate is about how big Labor's majority will be. I don't subscribe to the views, even though these are scientific polls carried out by people with vast experience. It doesn't feel like a landslide election. When I talk to people on the doorstep, there are lots of people obviously irritated and annoyed by the Conservatives, and there is always a feeling time for change. In some ways, no shame in that. 14 years in government happens to everybody. But there's not the same enthusiasm for Labor. There's a reluctance to vote Labor, and there's a nervousness about a Labor government. So it doesn't strike me. It strikes me that the Tory heartlands potentially will come out and vote Conservative if they think they're going to get a Labor government. And one of the arguments.
Second, my things come out. I do apologize. My wires come out. Keep talking. This is a really important point for me. Reluctance amongst traditional Tory voters. You say on the doorsteps, there's fatigue, there's anger, there's agitation. I get that. But a reluctance to vote for the Labour Party now. Starmer has portrayed himself. Somebody came with this great phrase yesterday about Ming Voz, let's just don't drop the ball, don't drop the verses. Just say nothing. I think the people are more switched on like that, which is why I asked you about Farage, because Farage sort of arrived in this blaze of publicity on Monday. I'm talking the lingo in many ways, according to many viewers and listeners, that the Tory party used to saying the sorts of things that many disgruntled Tory voters want to hear. Do you believe that he will be a player? Reform will be a player in this election. When you talk about how people aren't enthusiastic to vote for Starmer, but are fed up this government.
It's very hard to tell. I think there's no doubt at all that Reform will have an impact under Nigel Farage. He's a much more cut-through figure than Richard Tye, the previous leader of the Reform Party, who was the leader until Farage made his announcement on Friday. So it seems pretty clear that he will have cut through. Whether it's still enough to win him a seat, don't forget the major majority in Clon. They had 71% share of the vote, 25,000.
Majority told me that on the Jeremy Kyle show. There's no research. You're wrong there, Lord Edia. The majority was 31,000. Okay, Charles Watley next. The bread. I also have to do this. You'll know this because of the rules. Jovan AU Napple is standing for Labour, Natasha Osborne for the Green Party, Farage for Reform, and Matthew Beenham for the Liberal Democrats. If Farage manages to win in CLN, he's now apparently odds on with the bookies. I don't. No, we'll check out in a bit. Do you see it as a seminal moment in this election? Furthermore, in terms of going forward, the opposition or rerouting of perhaps the Tory party in the future, that's what he was talking about. Well,
this is the big debate. This is what Farage wants to achieve. Farage himself has said that a Labour government is a done deal. This is not why he's standing. This is not why he's put a turbocharge under the Reform Party. He's done it because he wants to replace the Conservatives as the opposition. It happens perhaps once in a century. Labour replaced the Liberals as the opposition and then became the alternative government. So it could happen. Who knows if Farage gets elected? Who knows how many Reform MPs could be elected? My suspicion is not many, if any, will be elected. And I think Farage's hope will not necessarily come to pass. It could well be that if we do lose the election, the Conservatives still come back with 200-odd MPs. And don't forget where Labour was just 4 years ago. And if the Conservative Party in opposition gets this act together, there is no reason why they should be extinct and taken over by Farage. But that is what Farage is shooting for. It is interesting. The coverage he gets is pretty extensive. And there are opposition parties play. The Greens complain they have a much higher share of the votes, many more councillors they get virtually no coverage at all if they were arguing, for example, they were going to replace the Labour Party if they were led by somebody with Farage's cut through. Maybe they would get the coverage, and you're quite right, Jeremy Farage gets the coverage because he is box office. People who don't like Farage complain about that, but I'm afraid the media loves someone.
Thanks for watching.